Hey everybody, hello. Welcome to Leviathan News. I'm Sam. I've been away for a few weeks just on a family vacation, but back now and trying to catch up on everything that's been happening in the world of crypto and DeFi. And today we have a wild story, which was just beyond anything that I've ever seen. And we just, I'm speechless really about all of this. And to help me unpack this, I have our chief legal squid, Alex Golubitsky, here to help me today. Okay, Alex, let me break this down for you. The FBI charged 15 individuals, including including representatives from 4 prominent market making firms: Gotbit, Quant, CLS Global, and MyTrade, following a multi-year sting operation. This is not something that happened overnight. This was put together with probably a large team and required a lot of assets at the FBI. But essentially, they went after fraudulent market making practices, aka wash trading, that pretty much almost every crypto project uses to inflate the value and volumes of their token and their meme coins. Especially like we've seen for a lot of these meme coins across ecosystems like Solana and Ethereum and pretty much anywhere else where there's a lot of volume going on. And so the FBI created a token called NextFund AI, and they went out and they hired a bunch of these firms to generate fake trades for them, or wash trading. And unbeknownst to the people that were providing these services, it was a trap. And so now all of them have been exposed as fraudulent, and it's just a massive investigation, massive honeypot trap, and the charges have been released against them. People are being extradited. It's just wild.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. And and before Sam went on vacation, we were planning on actually doing the show and talking about how NextFund AI was going to be the leading meta token for the. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's craziness. It's not really something I've ever seen before. I think that this is something that the FBI has done in other contexts, not necessarily in crypto, where they start a completely fraudulent and criminal enterprise basically, and to get people to go commit crimes along with them. But as far as I know, this is the first time this has happened. With in crypto, or where they've said, okay, we're launching a digital asset. So yeah, I think there's a few interesting things to discuss here. I mean, one is just the over the top craziness of what the FBI did, which is, I think, interesting in and of itself. And then I think there's a couple other interesting implications kind of in crypto more broadly, especially around market makers and the role of market makers, what that really means when a project engages with a market maker. What these guys in particular were doing that may differentiate their behavior from other more reputable, I guess you'd say, market makers. I mean, you could say anybody's more reputable than the people got arrested, but
yeah. Well, I think the the main thing to break down here is what is a market maker in crypto versus a market maker in other industries. A market maker is supposed to make markets. It's to provide liquidity on both sides of the trade and essentially give order book depth so that people can come in, or if you're talking about a DEX situation, provide assets into that DEX so that people can trade back and forth with. And that's all well and fine. I think that market making is a good business, and if you're doing it legitimately, it provides a lot of value into whatever asset that you're supporting. However, in this case, there's this corrupted and almost illegal, as the FBI would say, type of market making, where the primary goal is to, one, inflate the price, and then also to inflate the volumes, so that it seems like there's a lot of organic activity that's taking place with whatever token is being traded, when in reality there is just a mixture of wallets and other actors who are generating fake trades to deceive investors. And I think this is extremely widespread across the industry, especially at kind of the lower ends of the market, especially in the meme coin space, or even regular projects as well too. I mean, there's an assumption that every single project that deploys needs a market maker for some reason. They need to pay a group to create volume or get their token listed on certain exchanges. And it just all kind of reeks of, I don't know, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. It's certainly it's got to feel like the kind of the underbelly of the industry a little bit, and now of course something like this brings a lot of the practices to light. But I think that it's and I'm glad you sort of brought out the two different functions of market making, because I think that they get conflated a lot in crypto, right? Where you have what I would say is like legitimate market making, where you're talking about, like you said, providing order book depth, making sure that you're not having the price like wildly fluctuate, of an asset. Like that's, I think, traditionally what market making means. And there's nothing from a market standpoint, there's nothing inherently wrong with that type of market making. But a lot of times I think that it's conflated with wash trading in crypto, which is like fraudulent. I mean, it's not always fraudulent, but it certainly can be fraudulent, right? It can, if you're saying, hey, I want you to go out and create a bunch of volume behind this token so that I can go and tell the unsuspecting public, hey, look at all this volume, look at how much this token is trading. That's fraudulent, right? That's like those, as a promoter, those are not bona fide trades, and then you're using that non bona fide trading activity to try to get people to buy the token, and that's there's just fraud. There's not like a different. It's not always fraud, but it has an indicia of fraud, and so now.
But I would say all that is like the result of broken incentives inside of the industry, because if you go to the main discovery and information websites, which would be like CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, Dex Screener, Dex Tools, really anywhere where you can find information or charts about these tokens, there's always like a trending page. And the trending is a mixture of how many people are clicking on this to go see it. How much has the price appreciated in the past or depreciated in the past couple of hours? What is the volumes? And so there's a mixture of this attention economy metrics, which go into if your token is going to make it to the big board. And if it does, then a lot more people are going to see it. And so there's incentives for these actors to go out and do whatever they can to get on the board, because if they do, then they might get actual organic traffic to come to their token.
Yeah, it's true, and it's I mean, kind of like you intimated at the top of the show, a lot of people just view this as a necessity, whether they like it or not. Okay, I want my token to get a foothold. Well, I got to go like get a market maker, and I think that there's a lot of projects that just they won't buy. They don't differentiate between the reasons you could use a market maker, and I mean, look, I mean, what the FBI did here with this particular token is they went out and targeted market makers who are willing to be quite explicit about, hey, okay, you want this amount of volume, we'll generate this amount of volume, and like they obviously exist, right? It wasn't, the FBI put a lot of work into this, but I wouldn't say it was like difficult to find people who are willing to engage in those kind of transactions. But a lot of market makers in crypto are much more sophisticated than that, right? And they would never enter into an agreement. If somebody came to them and said, "Hey, just nakedly, I want you to create a bunch of volume behind this token," they'd be like, "Yeah, we don't do that," and so that's why you see, I think, a lot of the more sophisticated market makers are. They enter into agreements that look much more like just traditional loans of tokens. Not traditional. There's no such thing as a traditional loan of token, but it looks more like, okay, you're just lending us some tokens when you look at the actual paperwork, and then they go out and do what they do kind of on a handshake, right? Where it's not really reflected in the agreement, for better or worse. And that creates a situation, I think, that can be somewhat predatory to projects, just because all right, let's say you have a legitimate, like you legitimately have a token that trades and you just want order book depth, it's actually like somewhat difficult to go out and just hire a market maker to do that. And say, okay, if you're not doing your job, then I can fire you. And market makers will say, no, we're not going to agree to that. We're just, you just loan us the tokens, and then we'll either pay you back or pay you cash back, or stables rather. And so, I think it's a bad, the incentives are all fucked up.
Yeah. And if you look at the NextFund case, because reading through the documents, it's just wild what these people say, right? The FBI is acting as this fake company, this fake token, and they're going out and they're asking for these watch trading services. And these companies that they're engaging with are telling them over their like Zoom calls that, we can help with volume creation. We can help generate enough volume so that you can get on tier 1 exchanges. Like, we have an algorithm that basically does self trades, like buying and selling. And it only expenses you the gas fees and the exchange fees. And they do it from wallets, so it's not visible and it looks like organic buying and selling. And that is not an algorithm. And everything is just designed to be organic. And we transfer funds into all these wallets so that we can, make it look as normal as possible. And they've been doing this for like a lot of clients, and they're very happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that like, let's not be like naive about this, right? Anybody who's been in this industry for long enough and worked with enough projects has at least, like, even if you don't ever work with a market maker who does this stuff, you see it, you see these same type of claims. Like, at least I do. I'm not like, there's nothing in that indictment where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm shocked.
Yeah. Well, I think the shocking thing is that this is the first time that we've seen this type of honeypot.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, and it's like, it's really funny, right? Because like, the FBI is going out and like they're violating securities laws, right? Now, of course, right? So they can do that. It's not like, oh, the FBI, like, what are you gonna do? Put the FBI in jail? No, of course not. But it is like, but people actually bought this token.
Yeah.
Like unsuspecting schmoes like me were gonna go out and, like, not that I bought this one, but like, just like I was sort of joking about before, like, the AI token is a huge narrative right now. Like it's, if you launch an AI token and you have, KOLs and if there's market makers and everything else, like, you certainly see, like, you could point to any number of tokens, I think, that are very similar to NextFund AI in terms of how they're marketed and how they behave, that are not, as far as we know, FBI honeypots. And then you look and you say, oh, the FBI just arrested all these people and then disabled trading. I think they have a link on their website to where if you got left holding the bag, you can make some kind of claim. I don't know if they make you whole or what, but there were really people who were buying these tokens. And I assume it's just incredibly demoralizing if you, like, bought the FBI honeypot token thinking it was like a real thing, and then it goes to zero. Like,
Yeah.
I imagine that's just like, oh man, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah. I think that if you read through some of their stuff on their site, I mean, they break a lot of things. I mean, like, obviously you wouldn't be advising your clients, like, talking about big investors and experience of the team, and that the team is going to deliver. Like, proud to announce our commitment to the community with 80% of our profits from the investment projects distributed to the token holders in USDT. Like,
Yeah,
I think anybody.
All of that stuff is ill-advised, but none of it's unique, right? None of it's unique to FBI honeypots. Like, plenty of people do this stuff, and frankly, I mean, like, if you're operating outside the U.S., a lot of that stuff is like, there's a lot of jurisdictions where that kind of thing is just, like, not problematic, and so
Yes.
it's but I do think that the what the FBI did here is like, it's like remarkable and sort of not remarkable all at the same time, right? It's remarkable in that they did it. It's not remarkable in the sense that, like, they kind of caught the people who they caught, right? Because like these are not exactly. I mean, the FBI is going to go out of the way. The federal government's going to go out of the way to like portray these people as like shadowy individuals who are like, you know, going out and doing crime, but they're really not, right? I mean, people, a lot of these market makers were like operating very much out in the open, you know, making very similar deals with all sorts of people, and just being like, okay, this is what it is, and so yeah, I don't know that the you know, it's like, okay, well, I'm like surprised that it happened, but it's like, okay, these are the type of people who probably would get busted.
Yeah, and they have been doing it for a while as well too. I mean, this isn't the first time that Gotbit has been in controversy. I actually remember this tweet from a while back. This was Gotbit's hedge fund. So when they deployed the water token, the price of the token pumped to like over $1 billion valuation, and so Gotbit, who was the market maker at the time, came in and started aggressively selling the token down from $1 billion all the way down to $100 million, creating 90% loss. And then came out and said, you know, to protect the community, we lowered the price to a fair level.
Yeah. Gotbit. I mean, like, yeah, Gotbit was sort of the least surprising name to see. It's like, okay, they, not to use a pun, they finally got him, right? I mean, I've seen Gotbit all over the place, and yeah, it's again sort of tough to be shocked.
So I guess my question is, do you think this will deter people going forward from providing these types of wash trading market maker services?
No, I don't think so, because I mean, I think like for the reasons we discussed before, like it's just like a necessary evil, and there's like better or worse ways to do it. The one thing I would caution, just like, again, not like providing legal advice on a podcast, but just like the one thing I would caution people who are involved with projects to sort of think through is like, if you are making your token available in a U.S. market, then you need to make sure that you're not screwing up your regulatory strategy by using a market maker. And there's a case, an older case called Gary Plastics, long predates crypto, where basically the holding in this case is like, and I'm simplifying it, but the holding in this case is basically, if you have an asset which is otherwise not a security and not subject to regulation by the SEC, but you're going out and intentionally creating a secondary market in those assets. I think Gary Plastics involved like certificates of deposit or something like that, something that's not like inherently a security. But you're going out and you're creating a secondary market for those assets to trade in, and you're doing that intentionally, then it can turn what would otherwise not be a securities transaction into one. And so I think that you know, a lot of projects pour a lot of money into an initial regulatory strategy, right, for their token launch and everything, which is, you know, you want to see people doing that correctly, but then kind of undo a lot of that work and planning when they go out and just like hire a market maker to go like, even if there's a legitimate reason they're hiring a market maker, if that's what it looks like they're doing, then it can be a problem from a regulatory standpoint. Nothing to do with the NextFund AI case. Again, these guys are just like, yeah, this is just market manipulation. But yeah, there's a lot to think about in just the market maker space.
Is there anything that we can say to these groups to protect ourselves from the feds? Like,
you got to tell me if you're wearing a wire, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do I know that my Zoom call meeting is not being recorded by the feds?
No, you don't, right? I mean, look, like it's you know, I think that like I part of me doesn't really understand why the FBI is like wasting its time and resources with this. I think I kind of get it, right? I think I kind of understand, like, okay, the FBI, you know, they see this as like these companies as like taking advantage of people and taking advantage of the public. But no, I don't actually think there's really anything that you can do as a especially in this industry, right? Where like half the time you get on a call with somebody, they got their camera off, they're using their pseudonym. It's like, hey, you don't know if you're talking to a Fed, you don't know if you're talking to apparently somebody from like North Korea or whatever. Like you're not. It's very difficult. And so I mean, I think that like the best way to protect yourself in this instance is like make sure that you're getting like appropriate advice if you are going and using a market maker to provide liquidity for your token. And for the love of God, don't go out and try to hire market makers to watch trade. Like there's not a scenario where that's legal.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the best advice that we can take away from this. I think that I would enjoy being on the inside, seeing how the FBI team was patting themselves on their back as they arrested 14, well, brought charges against 14 people, and essentially.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they like the smugness must have just been off the chart, right?
Well, thank you so much for coming on today and giving us a roundup of what's happening on the DOJ side. Will there be civil? Will there be? Sorry, this was criminal charges. Will there be civil charges that will be brought as well too?
No idea. I have no idea. Yeah, there could be. It feels like they just did the criminal stuff. I didn't get the sense that the SEC is actually involved with this at all. It seems like purely an FBI, just like, hey, we're like, these people are committing fraud criminally, and we're going to go like ring them up for fraud. And I mean, the other thing I will say is like when you have charges like this against people who are probably like not suspecting they're dealing with the FBI as a counterparty. It's very easy for the FBI to exert pressure on that kind of person to testify against other people, which is why I think you are already seeing a lot of these people are cooperating. I have a feeling this gets all kind of resolved like relatively quickly. We see the people penalized, and then the FBI moves on and declares themselves the victors. I would love to see at some point like an actual like economic analysis of like what the FBI spent in order to like dragnet these people, but I doubt we'll ever get that.
Well, they seized $25 million, and several people are being extradited, so seems like a win for them.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I didn't realize the numbers were that high. I mean, yeah, probably a profitable trade then. Highly profitable trading strategy for the federal government.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alex, thanks so much. And we're going to have you back on to talk about MetalX soon. I've been meaning to talk about it for a long time. I think that you guys are finally percolating into being fully brewed and ready to just hit the crypto space with some awesome stuff. So we're going to have you back.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to coming on once we can like show you a product, like do screen share and everything, and show the world.
Well, thanks so much for being here, and everybody else at home, and we'll see you back soon.